wife threw a surprise 50th birthday party for me last night. My kids helped decorate, and I wanted to give them some props, but they're not here. They're still hungover. I hope not. Right? Anyway, so yeah, she completely surprised me because we went to dinner, and we had if you ever want to surprise your significant other or friend, you go to dinner, you have the cake there. Psychologically, I thought, well, it's done, we've celebrated. And, you know, it doesn't hurt if you've had a couple bottles of champagne. But, so I was in a very kind of gullible mood, and so when I got back to the hotel, I knew there was this after party. But I was super tired, I wanted to go to bed, and she said, no, we're gonna, he wants to, this friend of ours, he wants to say goodbye to you. I said, well, no, look, I'm gonna hide some more sketches, and I'll get to that in a second. And she said, no, we're not gonna hide more sketches, come on, let's go, because she had a ton of people waiting upstairs to surprise me, and I was literally like dragging my feet, you know, and they've been waiting there like an hour, and so we finally got out. It was a big surprise and everything. But so the thing with the sketches, I don't know if you guys are following me on Instagram, Twitter.
You get fun.
Yeah, so I wanted to do. I've been thinking about doing this for several years, which is I've given away sketches before, probably no more than 6 or 7, and I've kind of hid them in throughout the con. I one time put it in the women's bathroom. I had my wife go in the women's bathroom and hide it in there. We took a picture, tweeted it out, and then all these dudes ran into the women's bathroom. I'm not kidding. And they just trashed it. I mean, like, you know, they were literally opening like the soap lotion containers and like, where is it? And it's like, dude, like, are you that stupid? I mean, and they were turning everything in the trash and pulling out, even though we specifically took a picture of the, what are those sanitary napkins, or no, the napkins you sit on or whatever. You know.
Seat cover.
What?
Seat cover.
Seat covers, sorry. I didn't know there's an expert here. Seat covers. And they were just like littered throughout, so I felt badly for the people that had cleaned that up afterwards. So I really tried to, you know, think of better places to put it. And so I tweeted I was going to do 50 in celebration, give away 50 sketches in celebration of my 50th. And then the convention contacted me and said, what are you thinking? You're not going to do this. This is dangerous. And then, so I really did think about it. Like last year, I had lunch with a friend at Nobu, and as we were eating, I took a sketch and I taped it on the underside of the table, and then I tweeted it out, and then, yes, guys ran into the restaurant and like racing through, looking under people's, you know, tables, and you know, a lot of women in skirts were not happy. Hence the harassment policies that are in place now. And anyway, so and so again, can't do that. Party foul. So this year we did a couple different things. We hit them in more open areas. So you really had to be right there and not have to sprint. Although a lot of people, I guess a lot of people were or have been running around a lot. Welcome to exercise. It's better for you. We'll do this as an annual event. I will be placing the sketches further and further, and every year we'll be in better and better shape. And before you know it, you guys will be like ripped like the superheroes. And like, I didn't need the sketches. I worked out because it feels good. So anyway, so yeah, and then I said, well, you know, another way of doing this so that people don't have to compete is I could just be a creeper and just follow people around until their bag opens, and you guys have all these oversized bags, and I could just drop in the sketch. And a lot of guys are paranoid and you button up the top of your sketches. So I cursed each and every one of you, because it took about 15 minutes of following people around. You know what the funny thing is? No one else really cares. No one else gives a crap. So anyone around you, I could have taken an axe and hit you in the back of the head. No one said to me, like, what are you doing? Like, you're putting your hand in someone else's private property. It could have been, you know, a scorpion in a plastic bag. I don't know. And I was just really appalled at the lack of sympathy and concern you guys have for one another, so you want to work at that. So I put the sketch in, and one guy, he had a box inside, so I hit something and I couldn't put it in, so that guy so it took multiple times, but once I got it down, I was like, boom, and so that was a lot of fun. And of the 3 I gave out that way, only one person actually tweeted 3 or 4 hours later that got home, and they were shocked and surprised and everything. So the other 2, they're probably in the trash at this point. So you know, it happens, you know. So So that's the risk you take. I mean, I didn't want to go like, hey, and stop them and go like, hey, I put a sketch in your bag. So that wouldn't be good either. So, yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. I'll just tell you that if you're wondering, like, come to New York Comic Con, like, obviously to do the same thing. And I'm telling you, it's very hard to give away 50 of anything. So, you know, like even 50 hugs. Try to give away 50 free hugs at the con, very difficult to do. So, I just found that, because with each sketch, had to draw it, had to take a picture, we had to hide it, and then the person, because I had my kids and my assistant and my wife helping me because I had panels and things like this to do. And so they would have to send me the photo, I'd have to write something clever, which is very hard to do, especially in the middle of the panel. Frank Miller might see you. And then I would put that out, and then we'd have to wait for someone to find it. Most of the people that found it retweeted it, and that saved you guys some running around. But at the end of the day, I wanted to give something back. You know, I've had a wonderful career, and this is actually my 28th Comic-Con, 27 years. Those of you guys are going, normally he sketches and gives them away. I have sketches I kind of pre-made, so I'll get to it in a second. But anyway, it's like those baking shows where it's like, they have the
swaps.
Pop it oven, they pull it out. Look, it's like anyway, so, what was I saying? So the first Comic-Con I came to was in 1987. And very different. Was anyone at the show here? Anyone alive at that point?
Over there. I was
Were you at
alive.
the 87 Comic-Con? No. Anyone? No one.
Over there, there
In the
was.
back, in the back. These are people that just randomly raise their hands. Yes, you were there, sir? Do you remember meeting me? No? See, you know, did you go to the Comic-Con in 1987? Okay, you remember it was on the Convention Center on Broadway? Right, and it was probably just you and me, I think, at this point, right? You look very familiar. Your name is Bob, right? You had that, like that kind of sleazy girlfriend at the time. I mean, at the time. Anyway, so it literally would go and it would just be comic book fans. There was no Hall H, there was no Hall nothing. It was just one room, I think. And people would come up and I only had a couple comic books at a time, and they would we'd do commissions, like we would take requests. And at about $15 or $20 a pop, which, you know, 1987 is probably what, about $16 now, so it was a lot of money. And it was awesome. You talked to the fans, you took the commissions, you did them there, and then, but there was usually more than you could do, and then you go home you go back to the hotel room, you're sharing with 3 other guys, which is always a lot of fun. And then fans would come into the hotel room and just hang out. We would stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, just drawing, talking comics. Other professionals would come in and draw sketches. There were these fans from Hawaii that we knew. It was me, Wilson Bertasio, Scott Williams, and I don't remember who the 4th person was. And so that was my first Comic-Con, and at night there was a surprise birthday party, which is actually what inspired, I think, Carla, my wife, to do mine, for Jack Kirby. You guys know who Jack Kirby is?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
They're not reached the point where you guys are like, ooh. We're getting that close soon, I'm sure. Yeah, but it was his 70th birthday party. It was 3 weeks before his actual birthday. And it was a surprise birthday party. And somehow, a first-year schlub like me got into this party. These days, you would need an army of publicists to fight for that +1 so you could get in. And Frank Miller was there, Steve Rude was there, all these like titans of industry at the time were there. And you know, the center was Jack, very kind, gentlemanly figure, and he was just so gracious with his time and took the time to kind of shake everyone's hand. I got to talk to him a little bit. I have no idea what I said to Jack or what he said to me. I just kind of basked in his glow, because I knew this guy had created so much of the stuff I loved as a kid, and really was one of the inspirations in my life. And so then every con after that, as my career kind of took off and I got more popular, I could charge more for the sketches. I'd get to like $40, and so you're going home with like $500 in cash. And so that happened for a while, and then and as things got progressively more popular, as my career kind of took off, I was able to charge $40, $80. I think once it hit like $100 for a sketch, I actually felt bad charging that much for a drawing that would not take that long. And so I kind of decided at that point, like, things are going well, people like my work, this is a good thing, I'll just do free sketches. And So at that point, I just used to draw free sketches for the fans at the booth or at my table. Thank you, thank you. And that helped drive about 0.5% of eBay's business for about 3 years. They sent me a thank you note. And so I did that for a while until that became unmanageable. But I really, again, it was like, you know what? Like, things, at some point in your career, you're like, you know what? They like the work. There's got to be a symbiotic relationship to this. There's got to be some give back. And so I did that. And then when I became part of DC, they pretty much shut down the free sketches because it became a line issue. So blame them. And blame me. Yes, so blame us. So then that's when I came up with this sketch giveaway thing. So I think I've given away about 30, really, over 3 days or so. And I've got some more, and I'll figure out how to continue to give away all of them today. So, one an hour? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Make your.
I'm just going to toss them out.
Yeah.
Right? So if you guys want to take off your shirts, get ready. Have you seen like videos of people fight? They always take off their shirts. Must be a problem thing. Oh, Courtney, our publicist. You never come to this panel. What are you doing here? Oh, okay. All right, now I'm going to talk about other things. All right. So here are examples. So I always start off. So this is something you can't see.
There you go.
So that is Bruce Wayne as Batman, right? So I should only start off I know a lot of you guys are aspiring artists, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. So I usually just start off with something like this. This goes very quickly. It's a gesture drawing, and it's all about just capturing the general shape. Someone asked me why are all my characters in 3/4 perspective looking at this direction? And for whatever reason, it's easier to draw that than the other way, right? And I'm not sure why, but it just is. And it's easier to draw 3/4 than it is straight on, because when you draw straight on, you have symmetry issues, right? The eyes have to be at the same level, the ears have to be in the right spot, and it's always a struggle when I draw a comic book. Whenever you see a straight-on face covered, any panel, whoa. Sure. Okay. It always takes me such a long time, and sometimes I actually photocopy half the face and mirror flop it, but that doesn't work either. So this is the easiest way to do it, and actually looks pretty good, I think, because you can have a little more. A straight-on face can just look a little lifeless sometimes. So then the next one, that was fine, dude. The shadow. This. Oh no, it's okay. So that's Hawkman. Oh wait, that one's already done. Okay. So, Harley Quinn, the new costume.
Whoop.
Batgirl, the new costume.
Whoop.
Speaking of this, it's kind of interesting because this is the new 52 and this is the one that's coming out in October. People have asked about costumes and stuff like that, and it's weird, people get really caught up on it, but at the end of the day, when we launched the new 52, we wanted to have a fairly unified look for the line. And so, the costumes are controversial. A lot of people were upset about the removal of the red trunks and changes here and there, and at the end of the day, as creators, we knew that this is the starting point, and as it goes forward, the creators that are invested in these books are going to take these books and go their own path, and that things would eventually evolve, as they always do, in a very natural, organic way. But I was happy at the very start to take the heat for a lot of the changes. And in fact, I got a lot of heat for changes, new costumes I had nothing to do with. But at the end of the day, it's very hard to please everyone. But I think it's important to understand that the business we're in, and this is one of the questions that always came up about Batman's 75th anniversary, which is, how do you keep a character that's 75 years old interesting and enduring and still popular? And the way you do it is by not being beholden exactly to the past. To realize that everyone that came before you made stuff up, designed whatever and just threw it in there, and whatever worked stuck. And it was a natural selection process by which the best ideas, the best stories, the best Batmobiles, the best length ears, the best logo on the chest survive. And what you'll see though is like when different generations of creators come on, they're pulling from their past. So when Frank Miller does Dark Knight Returns, he's pulling from Dick Sprang. When I came onto Batman, I was pulling from Frank, who was pulling from Dick. And so the short ears that you're seeing on the Batman costume, I always tell people it's from Frank, but Frank was getting it from Dick, and he'll tell you the same thing. And so it's just interesting to see how that kind of jumps every 10, 15 years or so. And it's just the way it is. So I think it's good that people are passionate about the costumes, and they mean a lot, but at the end of the day, you have to understand that this is the business we're in. This is the art form we're in. This is about evolving the characters and continually changing and messing with them until they get going. Hopefully as they continue to evolve and get better and cooler. That one's almost done. So this is Poison Ivy, and she's holding a rose, and she's going to hold it like The Bachelorette does on the TV show. I'm going to tag them so I can hopefully get them to retweet me. So it's a Warner Brothers TV show. It's a passion for my wife. And anyway, we can have a side panel, anyone wants to talk about that. I think Josh is the fine guy. Anyway, so no? Right?
It's Josh.
Yeah, it's got to be, right? Yeah.
It's a baseball player. The baseball players always win.
Yeah. They probably know right away, because that chemistry is right there, but then they have to hide it and edit around it, like, oh yeah, you seem interesting, you're the farmer from Iowa, yeah. I'm the attorney from Miami, that sounds like this is going to really work out.
She does say that that's the guy she always falls for.
Yeah, she did say that, yeah. Interesting. A lot of guys watch The Bachelorette. It's kind of surprising. So, it is the best show if you're tired or if you want to get some sleep. We cannot make it through 2 hours. I think we watch it over 4 days. Go to bed after. So this is old school Harley Quinn. So yeah, so it's all about gesture and emotion and expression, and that's what I really want to capture at this stage. And then the refinements and the structure will come a little later, but if I don't nail it at this point, I don't move beyond that. So you can kind of see just the energy. I want to keep that energy in the line. And so a lot of times I see people draw, and they start drawing from one part of the body, and it gets really tight early on. Like they're really concerned about hitting that line, getting that structure, and they really should be focusing more on flow and energy and sort of emotion, right?
Yeah.
This is Martian Manhunter, and I don't know if I'm gonna go with that, man. Unless there's Martian Manhunter fans. You guys like the pointy head, or like the... Really? Like the pointy head? Why?
I like the rounded head.
No, because he did not used to have the pointy head, right? Huh? Makes more alien. Right, a green Martian. Pointy head. War, right. He's got the same number of fingers. If you light a cigarette, he goes, oh! I feel weak. Look, he's an alien. Look at his pointy head. I agree with you. I think it does. So when I did that, I didn't like the super pointy head. So when I did New 52, I gave him a nod to the pointy head, but I didn't go as far as like having the whole. Yeah. So again, that's it. So that's another way you can deal with things as an artist. Like, you know, I don't like the costume maybe that I'm being given to draw, but what I'll do is I'll just tweak it slightly, right, and make it kind of more my own, kind of move it to a point where I can feel comfortable with it. This is going to be the girl from iZombie, and she's got a napkin. She's kind of dabbing her face after eating some brains, and so the napkin started here. That didn't really work for me, so it's where it should be, which is right here. Okay, so it goes from that, and it goes to a very quick line drawing, so that's Harley, right? Right, so you can see the underdrawing underneath. So like, it's not like I'm hitting that line, I'm just getting close to it, probably closer to the facial elements. And with the sketches, I like a lot of the underdrawing in there as well. and every one of these. You're really messing with me here. All right, hold. These are physical representations of me out here. Now you're spurring me over here. I'm going to end with a big, all right, play face, whatever. Okay. I understand they put out a photo of her yesterday. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I thought it looked amazing, and yeah, I mean, I think Zack Snyder is just amazing visualist, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm really looking forward to the movie. If you guys saw Man of Steel, like, I don't know if you guys know of his body of work, right? 300,
Yeah.
Sucker Punch, Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead, right? So he's done some great stuff, and what I love about it is that he seems very inspired by imagery of comic books. So I think in 300 there's a shot where a Spartan jumps up in the air and he lands and his foot hits the camera and blacks out. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
That's so cool, right? And so, and then there's another time, it's not like Chris Farley, there's another time where Superman is punching Zod, but it's almost like there's a GoPro camera like stuck on his rib, and he's like hitting him, and the camera, like, that was so cool, right? So now I'm thinking, like, what's he gonna do with Batman? Because every Batman movie, the director really creates it, in the Tim Burton movie, he really created this kind of almost lyrical, dreamlike world that was Gotham, right? I mean, it felt like Gotham City was very much a character in that movie. It really stood out from the building that was designed by Anton Furst, I think, and everything kind of, from the shape of the Batmobile to the costume to the buildings to the bridges and all these other weird elements. And then you go to the Nolan Batman movies. Now skip the Schumacher movies, but because I was fast forward through those two. So you get to the Nolan movies, and it's almost like Gotham City receded, right? He really wanted to look as real, everything to feel as real as possible. So I think they shot in Chicago, and they used real buildings, and very little of it was kind of jerry-rigged or altered. And to me, when I look at the stuff that's coming out, certainly Man of Steel, you just realize, like, he's gonna do a different take on it. And that's what's so great about Batman, is that he's such a versatile, almost bulletproof character, which is ironic given that he's got no superpowers. And you can do all these different interpretations of the character. And so I just think he's going to do something that's very different and exciting, and that Wonder Woman's really thrown to the sea. So anyway, Wonder Woman. Another Catwoman. You guys don't like the side profile shots. I think that's what it is. So that's a little more finished. I think that's pretty much it. So, and then this one here, this is Batman. He looks like beating the snot out of the Joker, put on Instagram, like checking the number of likes. Only 5,028? Refresh that. Anyway, how does Superman have more followers than me? So anyway, so what I can attempt to do is maybe I'll take a couple questions, and I'm going to draw a little bit, and finish these up so you'll see, like, the line drawings, like that Joker. I think the Joker is pretty much done.
Hey, Jim.
Yes, hey.
Hey. I just noticed that at Comic-Con every year you're really packed. Like this year you have something to do every hour, whether you're at panels, signings, or hiding sketches. I just wanted to know if you had a couple of free hours to do whatever you want as sort of a fan at Comic-Con, which event would you choose to attend or do?
Right. Gosh. I have done things like that. Normally at shows, can you see? I was going to show you my schedule. It's pretty much full from the moment I get up to the moment I find myself encased by sweat in my bed. It goes from all day long, but occasionally there's a cool panel, usually not at San Diego just because it's so busy here, but like I think WonderCon when I want to say they had J.J. Abrams before they launched the new Star Trek franchise, right? So I'm a huge Star Trek fan, the original series, and they were just showing a preview, and so the con was very kind to get me a pass so I could go in very quickly, watch it, get back to my business. But are you guys Star Trek fans here? So yeah, I named my son's middle name is Tiberius. He's gonna be super tough because he's gonna have a lot of fights. So, anyway, yeah, so that's what I do. But I also have 9 kids, and yes, exactly. That's what I said. It's a blended family, which means that 2 families came together, and they go all the way from forgotten how old they are now, 9 months all the way up to 22 years of age, and so. When they were young, they didn't really care. I mean, they would come to Comic-Con and just see like the big, Hobbit or displays and stuff like that. But as they've gotten older, started watching TV shows, like they want to go to Hall H and they want to do all these other things. So I spend a lot of my time just trying to sneak them into other events. So it's more about them, really, at this point than me, which is, I think, someone had told me I wouldn't have had 9. I think that's so no, it's been great. So, yeah, so it's actually a high point. I mean, we live here in San Diego, so there are a lot of people that we know in the city that come down, and so it's a big celebration. It's really changed into a wonderful celebration of not just comic books, but all things pop culture, and it's very inclusive. And we love the fact that, people from all walks of life that you wouldn't ever think would be comic book readers are interested in coming down. And here's our chance to kind of show them who the characters are and who the people that create these things are. And it gives us a wonderful platform to really talk about creativity and storytelling and who these characters are. And it's just a great way of really kind of proselytizing and spreading the word. So it's a great it's a great event, so I love coming here.
Cool. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Question I have for you is, do you have any plans to publish any additional books, like icons, that would include your sketches or things from your Facebook or Instagram pages?
Probably not. Those things are, like giving away these free sketches, you think like putting together a book of all your work would be easy, but man, they require a lot of effort. Maybe when I retire, and I don't ever plan on retiring, but if I were to retire, if I were to retire, I could see maybe spending time doing that. But the same way I say I'll take occasion to clean out my garage and never do. So I just think I'll never ever do that. But that book is awesome. But that was really driven by one guy, Bill Baker, who's unfortunately passed away very early. But he did that huge long interview, and that kind of. I don't want to just do a book that just has images. I would love there to be text and kind of. But for that to be included, I'd have to sit down and write it. And it's kind of like on the list the same way like doing a book like how to draw. Like it's just a lot of time and it's just my interest really is in telling stories and through the use of images. Doing those kind of retrospectives, I'll leave that for other people to handle. But we did talk about doing a companion to the Icons book that would focus on the Marvel work that I did because there's a lot of sketches and concept art. But again, like who's going to drive all that? And unfortunately, it really starts with me, and I pawn that off to my assistant. But man, that's a lot of man hours just finding and tracking it all down, identifying what the art is, and at the end of the day, I don't know if there's enough of a market to justify that kind of thing. But who knows? There is a lot of cool stuff that's never been seen, and it would be nice to have it out there. It's just the amount of work is a lot more than you would imagine.
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Cool. Thank you.
Hi there, Jim.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so what I'm doing here, this is, people sometimes ask, so this is Ultra Draw, Black India ink. You can buy it at any art store, not a Michael's, but No. Well, maybe they do sell it. I don't know. Sometimes they sell it there. But I typically, it's not the tools per se, but I like this because it's portable and you can pour it out, and you're not going to knock it over and spill all your ink across your table. And then this is just I think it's a Winsor Newton, but no, it's a Raphael brush. It's a number 2. The numbers dictate the size of the diameter of the brush. And this is just, I think it's sable hair or something like that. And it's the fastest way to put down lines. Normally people have it in a jar, you dip into it and that kind of thing, but I found that it's hard to do that in travel, so I just kind of put it down like this, which I wouldn't really recommend to start. But once you feel comfortable with it, you can kind of do this, and it allows you to move very quickly. Okay. Question?
Yeah, hi Jim.
Hey.
Big Batman fan and big Jim Lee fan, but I'm also a big fan of the guy you're drawing right now, Nightwing. Just had a question about your thoughts about the direction Nightwing is going to right now. I mean, and the new book came out, Grayson #1.
Yeah, look.
And what are your thoughts on that? And did you have any input into the change and the direction he was going as a character?
Okay, yeah, 2 questions. I really like the direction that it's going in. Tim Seeley is a fantastic writer. Tom King is a new writer, but a real interesting guy. I just met him last night, and you know, he's a former CIA operative, I think, and he's got some interesting stories to tell, a unique perspective. I think with a character like Nightwing, you just have to figure out like how's he different from Batman and all these other Robins, and really establish something unique about him. And those guys are willing to take the risks that we want with our, the kind of latitude we want to give our creators to take those kind of creative risks. So we feel very confident in that team. And as far as guiding that direction, I think as co-publishers, you sit at the top, but you can't take those kinds of decisions out of the people that work, at different levels of the company. So most of that is going to be driven on an editorial level. So you look at the changes that are happening in the Batman family with Gotham Academy, by Becky Cloonan and Carl Kerschel, Arkham Manor, Batgirl, the new Batgirl, all that stuff. It's Mark Doyle. He came from Vertigo, so he has different sensibilities. Mike Martz was his predecessor, terrific editor, did amazing books. But again, it's just a different point of view, and so it's a nice blend between editorial direction and giving the talent the creative freedom to tell their best stories. And a lot of times that's tricky to do, especially when you have creators that are when they're so passionate about a story, they feel like this has got to be the story we want to tell, and the editor feels like, no, it's got to be this way. And that's healthy to have that kind of disagreement, because at the end of the day, you don't want everyone to be in sync at the beginning. You want people to question, like, well, is this the best thing to do? Can we do it better? And then once you're on the same page, boom, you go. And it's interesting to note, like, a book like Batman, where you guys are following Batman, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, right? And so initially they didn't hit it off. They was actually, I want to say they almost hated each other. I think that's a secret. But they didn't see eye to eye. And so that required us coming in, making some phone calls, just kind of smoothing over it. And then they just, whatever alchemy happened, whatever, it clicked, and then boom, they were on the same page. And you've got amazing work out of it too, and continue to, and they are super tight. So you guys really see how it really hinges upon the interpersonal relationship between the editors and the writer and the artist, and that's critical. So we feel very good about the combination we have on Grayson. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Jim.
Hey.
As you mentioned earlier, you hit the half-century mark.
Yes.
I was
Not
wondering-
yet.
Not yet?
A couple more weeks.
Just wondering, with your experience and also being in the comic book industry, you're exposed to like other industries like the entertainment industry. If you can just look at your comic book industry and see like, I'm totally satisfied with it, I'm gonna walk away. What's your next passion? Like, I'm gonna attack this next. You know what? There really isn't, and I don't know if that's sad or thrilling. I was telling someone last night, I think 50 is a big glamour. I don't know if any of you guys are 50 or older.
Yes. Yeah. I think 40 is a time that you celebrate, like all the great stuff you've done, and 50 is more of a time you kind of wonder, like, have I done everything I wanted to do? Not that you're going to die right away, but, you know, it is the back half, you know, the back half of the golf course, and the last 9. And so, yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I would say, for the most part, there have been no regrets. There have been opportunities in my career where people said, hey, do you want to work in storyboards, or would you like to actually direct something? You want to work in the video game business, there's an opportunity there at some point. And aside from what I worked on at DCU Online, thank you. For the most part, I've stuck with comics, because that's what I wanted to get into. When I graduated from college and said, you know, I'm not going to become a doctor, which is what my parents wanted me to do, I decided that I was going to follow what I was really passionate about, and my passion was in comic books. It wasn't like I'm going to get into comics so I can try to get into film. You know, if I wanted to do that, I would have just gotten into film. So, at the same time, I knew that I just wanted to create a job. You know, I don't know how important it is to you guys. I was talking to my wife about this morning. Just want to, use her as a sounding board. But we all have the priorities in our life, things that drive and motivate us. And one of the big ones for me is creative fulfillment. And if you guys are thinking about a job in the arts, I would just really recommend it. It is a great way of. It's more than a job. It is a lifestyle. It is a unique point of view that really engages all parts of your brain. I think it makes you think more critically. I think it makes you interact with people more critically. I think it opens doors to other possibilities and other opportunities that you might not have. And I think you'll be those who go and find happiness in it. I think it's just a wonderful way to kind of live your life. It's not, I never looked at like Monday as like this horrible day of the week. I never looked at Friday as this amazing day to kind of relax. It's all about what's my next project going to be, what's my next deadline. Those are the days you kind of like don't look forward to. But for the most part, it's like, who am I going to work with? And getting to tell those stories and work with these amazing collaborators, writers, and being able to entertain you guys with that work. So that's a long answer. Sorry.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
Your last tweet said to ask nicely for a sketch and be cool, and it's yours, so I figured, what the hell? I might as well ask.
No, it wasn't. It was my daughter. She has. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So the trick with this is I don't carry anything with me, but I'm going to give these away to some of the people here. But you're going to have to run out that door, go all the way around. Whoever comes out that door first. Yeah. No, I'll figure that out. People are starting to line up like edge over the door.
Hey, Jim. My question is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. My question is, just if you could share a story, it's not a question. If you could share a story about like meeting Frank Miller, or you were saying he's such a big impact on you, and you're such a fan, just kind of going in and meeting him for the first time, or getting to collaborate with him or speak with him or anything like that. Just any stories that are really fond memories for yourself.
And I don't know if they're fond memories. No, I say that in the nicest way because it's very stressful anytime you meet anyone you idolized as a kid, right? I mean, I had the unique opportunity of, I got into the business when I was 21, 22, right? And I was working on the next, this is not a Frank Miller story, but I'll get there. I got to kill the time somehow, right? So I got on the X-Men by 1989, something like that, 89, 90. So I was in the business for about 2 years. So I was 2 years out of reading comic books and having stupid arguments with my best friend about who would win in a fight. Who would win in a fight? The blob who can't be moved, or the guy that had, I don't know, Quicksilver, one of these characters that could, it's like. Who would win, an immovable object or the unstoppable force, that kind of stuff, and so we would have these huge discussions about the X-Men, and then here I am 2 years later, and I'm getting ready to call Chris Claremont on the phone to talk about, you know, the book we were going to take over, right? I'd done a 3-part story, Acts of Vengeance, but I didn't communicate with him. Sorry. But they gave me the book with 268. I'm a little OCD. So 268, right? So here I am in the kitchen of a house I was sharing in Berkeley. I was renting a room, and all my housemates, like none of them were into comics, so like they're all like listening in. I'm like, so I you know, it's nerve-wracking. Think about it. Like I was like, why did no one invent texting? Because that would have been the perfect way to make that intro. I'm like, hey, Chris, what's going on? And so I kind of like just create this list, like pre-prepared questions, you know, because I don't want to be like, right? And it was just a very nerve-wracking conversation. I would say that every person I met in the comic book industry, including Frank, was very much that same situation, because you're meeting someone that was so pivotal and so inspirational in your life. And so that lasted probably for the first 4 or 5 times I hung out with Frank. And but then one time, the breakthrough was at Comic-Con in Chicago, and we went out, had a fantastic dinner. Brian Ezerla was there. We were having libations, and started talking about, you guys should Google that. Anyway, so we started talking about like Green Lantern, like how silly the character he was, and eventually ended up being the storyline that was an All-Star Batman and Robin. And then we kind of parted ways when the bar closed down, and then there was a knock on the door at like 3 in the morning, and I went to the door, and it was Frank. And this David Macho, he's an agent from Spain, and he had some fire water that they brought over from Spain. And they're like, hey, let's drink the fire water. So they came in, and we hung out on the couch, drinking fire water. I have no idea what it was, but it was horrible. And we were downloading Waylon Jennings. Oh my God. Some musician guy. He's a country musician, and that Frank liked. And we just like hung out and talked till, you know, the sun came out. Yeah, it was very romantic. Very romantic, I have to say. We exchanged phone numbers. I'll call you. I waited 3 days. So yeah, but I still have that urge, that real fanboy urge every time I see Frank. It's like, you know that one scene that you did? It's so awesome. Yeah, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. And and then when I saw the screen caps of the footage they showed yesterday,
Yeah.
the armored Batman with the glowing eyes. Oh, so good. Anyway, so
Thank you.
Hey, Jen.
yes, hey.
So I was wondering, I'm sure you realize that your life is not normal.
It is not normal, right?
Of all the crazy things that have happened to you and the people you get to meet, what is the thing that tripped you out the most?
What has tripped me out the most?
Yeah, like what were you just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, I know, what is the most?
Gosh, it's hard to rate them all, because I usually try not to dwell too much on them. But again, same thing, like hang out Frank. I once did a convention in Toronto just to meet William Shatner. So this is the thing that goes in my head. Oh my gosh, they're there. And so part of the deal is that I'll get locked in a room with the 2 gentlemen for like 10 minutes, and they couldn't unlock the doors. So so we're in the green room, and so I got to hang out and talk to them. And I've never been so tongue-tied, and my heart was racing, and I you know, my back was cramping because all my muscles were tightening up, and I was just trying to be like so cool, and like, you know, I was failing miserably. I was probably sweating like tons, and William Shatner was extremely nice, you know. Leonard was a little more quiet. We took some photo ops, And then they got set up for their part of the convention, right? They sit in these 2 chairs. Have you ever been to one of these Star Trek type conventions, right? So they sit in these 2 high chairs, and then there's a number on the floor and a mark. And so they have a line of fans that go down the hall. And they bring the fan, they stand in between Leonard and William, they snap a picture, and then they usher you out. And they just go like, one, you know. And you don't say anything to them. And or you can't, but they usually don't say anything. So it's like, so I was the first person in line to do that. So I got that picture that everyone else has, the same shot, and I was just like, wow, it was just cool. You know, I'm telling you, when I got into this, I never thought any of this kind of stuff would happen. I thought literally I would have a job where I could just work in my underwear, you know, just kind of roll out of bed, you know, sit in my chair and just draw pictures for a living. And I liked that. That appealed to me as an 18, 19-year-old kid. You know, I went to the hospital my dad worked in and saw all these people walking around and all the social interaction, like, oh, that's not what I want. No, you know, like, I have to be friendly to everyone I meet, forget it. And,
You are crazy friendly to everyone you
no,
meet, and we really appreciate
it's all an
that.
act. It's all an act. Because it's inside. You know, like how they say, like people gravitate towards things that they like. Psychologists are crazy. I was a psych major, and you know, usually they're the ones that need a lot of help, and policemen are people that want to have control in their lives, that kind of thing. But yeah, so a lot of it is. No, I'm not that guy. You're right. Okay, that's good. It's too far. I
It's the first thing I tell people about you, is that you're a wonderful guy.
Courtney, who's our publisher, said I over-answer, so I should just stop. Which is like, thank you so much for that compliment. I'm really flattered that you think that. I hope you have a great convention. I'll see you next week.
What's up, Joe? That's not the question.
Okay.
I know you keep talking about how your parents wanted you to be a doctor and all that.
That's
so I
right.
was just wondering, if you took that route, what area would you go? What field?
Plastic surgery. I would make their lips go like this.
Make you look like superheroes?
No, like a Joker. And some of them do look like that already. And then I would always, like, if I did heart surgery or something, I would probably like leave a little Batman symbol. It's true, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had eye surgery, like, I had a retina tear in my retina wall, and a guy used a laser to seal it, and they basically write stuff on the back of your eye. That's what he told me, at least.
Do you see it at night or something?
It's like my own Google Glass. Right? A little man. No. Yeah, so, I thought plastic surgery, you know. But I worked in a hospital. I saw a hysterectomy. I saw a tumor being taken out of a guy's head. And it's really savage. I mean, I don't know, any of you guys surgeons here? Too busy, right? Yeah, I'm a Comic-Con. It'd be hard to be a surgeon on Instagram, though, right? Probably. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, they go in and they're literally just like you would think they'd be all delicate, but they're just like scraping away your head. I would not recommend it if you had a choice. But yeah, plastic surgery is pretty rough. They have like clips on YouTube and stuff like that. It's really crazy. But I have the stomach for it. Like I get super nervous meeting, you know, like fans, my idols when I was a kid. But like seeing people cut up and stuff doesn't faze me one second. My heart rate doesn't change. I don't get sweaty. No big deal. I've seen a lot of like one time I had a tear in my knee and I just watched him completely sew my knee back together and all this blood was squirting up in the air and everything. And, you know, C-sections, everything. It's all intense. It's like the movie Alien when they think about it. That's what it's like. Anyway, next question. Sorry.
Hi, Jim. Do you have a favorite place to draw, and where do you get your most inspiration from?
My least favorite place to draw is in front of a lot of people. My favorite place to draw, it's in my home office, as you would imagine. But again, early on in my career, artists have these things called morgue files, where they would cut up magazines, like have pictures of tractors, schoolyards, airplanes, so that they could use them for reference. And I started doing that. And this is so time-consuming, and as you can tell, I'm a person that kind of likes to take shortcuts. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And then that's when I started going, like, if I just start memorizing what things look like, I don't need to be beholden to these pictures. In fact, these pictures are crutches. They're making me not want to memorize stuff. And so I started just memorizing things. And so I would go into like a dentist's office and I would just kind of look around, close my eyes and go, what are the 3 things I need to have in this office that make it look like a dentist's office versus a plastic surgeon's office? Or why does this gas station look like it's in the Midwest and this gas station is in Europe? And it's the price of the gas. But so, all these things like you think about, and so I really focus on those kinds of details. And once I did that, I realized I didn't need all these magazine pictures. And then with the internet and Google, that made it even easier. So I just dumped all that information onto the cloud. So all these other people that had obsessions with fire trucks and post up every single picture of them, I can just rely on that now. It's awesome. So, and then I just really broke myself of the habit of having to have the right kind of pencil with the right kind of paper with the right desk at the right angle. So I'll draw on a kitchen table, I've drawn on the floors of train stations in Italy, with old men smoking cigarettes, like kind of watching over my shoulder while I was literally drawing at like 6 in the morning because I was trying to make FedEx. I've drawn on moving trains in the south of France, Batman black and white cover, the black and white cover, I did that in a hotel room in Berlin. So people ask me like, what do I see when I look at my art? I see where I drew that image and what was going on and how much time I had or didn't have. But for the most part, you can train yourself to do that. Some people really need to have just the right tools and just the right environment, just the right lighting, but I'm so busy and I travel a lot that I found that it's better. I just kind of forced myself to be more adaptable. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Jim. I got into comics right around the time you started doing X-Men with Chris Claremont, and it was your artwork that really appealed to me, that made me want to pick up that X-Men book and start reading it. So here I am, I'm 32 years old now, and here I am at Comic-Con every year reading comics because of you, and I really want to thank you for that, because you've changed my life basically, and I love comics so much. And in the late 90s, you came back to Marvel for a little bit there on Heroes Reborn.
That's right.
And I always wondered how that came about. How did they get you to come back over to Marvel for that short run that you did there on that?
Boy. That's a long time ago. I think the management had changed there. It's the details. They invited Rob and me out. They were interested in partnering with Image. Rob and I were the only ones that bid because we liked the characters. Those books were selling like 30 to 20,000 copies each at, I want to say, 75 cents. So they were really not doing well, which is a shame given, it's Fantastic Four and Iron Man and Captain America, which, Avengers, really mainstays of their line. And so we just met and they basically said, we want to outsource these books to you. You guys create them. Here's the package amount. Here's the amount of money to basically cover everything. You're going to produce everything up to film, and then we're just going to publish and distribute it. And so they gave us all the freedom that we really wanted when we left to create Image, right? So, and we got to play with the characters, and we had sort of carte blanche with it. And so there was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a unique, creative challenge to do that, and then we wanted to show that, hey, we could make a difference. I think the first issue of Fantastic Four, Heroes Reborn, sold like 330,000 units. And they kind of leveled out about 120,000 by issue 6 or so. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on, but it was very unpopular within Marvel because essentially no one was told there that this was happening. And so they had to deal with it after the fact, and that's why they did that pocket reading. It was Onslaught or something like that. So they basically worked it into continuity because the people that made that decision didn't really care about continuity, they didn't really care about the characters, they just wanted more sales, right? And so at the end of the day, they made a business decision, which was probably not the best creative decision. But in terms of the work, I was very proud of the stuff we did. It was a lot of fun to actually get to do those characters. And so there are not a lot more Marvel characters I haven't had a chance to work on. So I had to do the FF. So I'm glad I did it.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
I got in a bit. I love this panel. Every year he does this, but I wish they'd give him more time. So you guys, when you get home, get on Twitter or Facebook and see if they can extend his time and reach 60E. What do you hit?
Yeah. Do it now.
books too? Because
Hi, Mr. Lee.
4
I just wanted
hours.
to ask,
Yes.
what's your favorite character to draw, and why would it be that character?
It really depends. My favorite character to draw is the character that's in front of me at the moment. I think it's big fan of the character that's in front of me. Okay. No, I'm not saying. I'm speaking in a very general sense. In that, think about if I was working on a project and I said, well, this is my 18th favorite character to draw, and I want you to pay $2.99 or $3.99 to buy it. I mean, so what I'm saying is, whatever book I'm working on, that's got to be my sole focus, and that's the book I'm dying to draw. This is the character I have, have to work on, and so that really, because you need to sum up all the passion and enthusiasm you can, because it is hard work. You are drawing a lot. It can take its toll on you. It can kind of grind you down with the deadlines, the number of pages, the number of issues. So you've got to constantly refresh and renew your energy for it, and that only comes about if you really love the work you're doing. And it's true of anything, like your relationships with your significant others, or even your colleagues at work. You have to continually find ways to reignite and re-engage your passion for everything you do, because if you don't, it's just going to slowly be, it's just not going to be as good work, right? And so I love drawing Batman, but there was certainly a point where by the end of All-Star Batman and Robin that I kind of got burnt out on drawing, because I drawn them so much. And that's why we took this very long pause. That's my story. I'm gonna stick with it. And so it was fun to work on different characters. I would love to work on Wonder Woman. I would love to work on Legion of Superheroes at some point.
Yeah.
A lot of passion for those characters. And then there's a lot of other like random characters like Red Bee. Right? So there's that challenge of taking characters that only a couple people literally know about. He's just a horrible character. But is there a way to do something that, to unlock that code and make it kind of exciting and cool? So you want that creative challenge as well. All right?
We are going over time, but I want to go ahead and try to get these last 3 people here.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, but we gotta make it happen, guys.
Is anyone celebrating a birthday and has an ID to prove it? It's your first Comic-Con? All right, you're not eligible. No, you guys are not eligible. I'm sorry. If you look at the fine print of your ticket, first year admission admittees are not allowed to win stuff, because there are people that are coming for that guy. 28 years, that guy. My last thing I want to do, I want to call out some members of my family that were instrumental in putting together the surprise birthday party. I have a couple of daughters here. Caitlin, you want to stand up? Come on, Caitlin. Brittany. Sienna. These are also girls that kind of walked around with sketches, and someone on Instagram said like they look so miserable. They're being forced to do this. No, they volunteered, and they helped set up all the balloons and the cake in the party. And I don't know if I thanked you enough last night, so I'm thanking you in front of everybody. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for coming out, and I'll see you next year. Okay? Thank you.